joining us from Phoenix after calling Game 1 of the NBA Finals last night with Mark Jackson and Mike Breen as well. Jeff Van Gundy back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Jeff?
Man, that brought back great memories, Rich. Thanks for playing that. It really did. It was such a cherished moment for me to be able to speak to greatness like Coach Wooden. And sometimes you forget all the blessings you've had. And so that was wow. That was great. Thank you.
I love that story that you told, when I guess it was in October 2019 when you were on here that you're a big Wooden fan, and Walton's like, oh, let me get him on the phone, which is a nice flex for Walton to just be able to do. And that it's just that had to be really cool for you to know that he was giving you, like, I'm seeing your games and I see you're posting up Sprewell and Allen Houston a lot. I like to see him playing facing the basket. That he's watching your stuff. It's amazing.
And you said it in such a remarkably with remarkable both humility and conviction. Like, you're not really that smart if you don't do what I say, but I'm not going to make you feel bad for being a dummy, So it was good.
And now let's talk about the here and now with Monty Williams. It's just amazing, and it's fun to watch a team buy completely 100% what a coach is selling. What is Monty Williams selling that works so well with this team in Phoenix, Jeff Van Gundy?
Well, I had the great pleasure of being able to coach Monty as an assistant coach for a year and a half, his rookie year, and then halfway into his second year. And the thing that I think separates him, but makes him such a great head coach, besides the normal basketball knowledge, is he is a phenomenal leader. And I can't emphasize that enough. He is honest. He is direct. He is humble. He has great empathy, and he's got as much integrity as anyone in the NBA at any position in the NBA. So those characteristics and those qualities make him a phenomenal leader. And so if you're a phenomenal leader and you have great basketball knowledge, you position yourself to get the most out of your team. And they have a terrific team. James Jones has put together a terrific roster. And Monty Williams has driven home exactly what wins and loses in this league. And it's just I am so happy for him. He should be very proud of himself.
And the one thing that just strikes me, Jeff, because again, I'm watching at home, and then I'm seeing and I'm hearing what goes on in a huddle, and how he also speaks during quarter breaks and he always seems very calm, and it seems like he doesn't raise his voice, and even when the crowd's going crazy, thank goodness we have full arenas again, that's got to be something that's contagious as well for a team, I would imagine. Jeff?
Well, he preaches poise constantly, and he emanates that message by how he conducts himself. So right. He conducts himself with great poise. Thus, his team has an everyday reminder of what poise under pressure looks like. And because of all of his life experiences, I think he knows exactly how much basketball matters or should matter in someone's life. And I think that also gives him grace and poise in these stressful moments, but because he's faced so many more stressful moments in his life, he's able to conduct himself with the appropriate level of poise, but also don't mistake that for not being an intense, fiery competitor, because he is. He had great edge as a player, and he continues to have this great edge as a coach.
And me coming from the NFL world, Jeff Van Gundy here, it's the same thing that I heard was always said about Tony Dungy, that the word grace, poise, fiery competitor as a player, bringing that to a head coach and demanding accountability without being the loudest person in the room. Honestly, like that sounds the same thing to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think the common denominator there is they're men of great faith, and who also, again, both have experienced gut-wrenching tragedies in their life. And so their faith plus the tragedy, I think, tragedies give them this perspective of what their bigger purpose in life is, which is to impact the people around them. And they both, to me, when I think of servant leadership, the two names that pop to my mind are Tony Dungy and Monty Williams. And I have as much respect for Monty Williams, the person, as you can have for another person. And he is truly, when we're looking for American heroes, he's the way he conducts himself on an everyday basis. It gives me great pride that I know him. And Rich, I'm a lot older than him, but I learn from him. I watch him, and this isn't this year. He's been a terrific assistant coach. I thought he did a great job in New Orleans, and now he's doing obviously a great job here where people are recognizing what he's doing. But I learned from him way back when he was a player all the way through now, just because of how he conducts himself.
Jeff Van Gundy here on the Rich Eisen Show, phoning in from Phoenix, where the Suns took Game 1. And a lot of people might be hearing our conversation right now, Jeff, and think that at least I'm coming across as sounding, a little bit a sense of inevitability about the outcome of this series. It is just one game, but I'm wondering if it just, maybe because it's Chris Paul and it just feels like it's his time. It just feels like he's not being stopped by the usual things that cut him short with injury, or in the case of COVID, that he just, finished the Clippers with a 41 piece and dropped a 32 piece in Game 1. It just seems like he's on fire right now, and not to be stopped. Jeff.
Well, these second halves have been phenomenal these last two games. I mean, the shooting numbers, and what Chris Paul combines is, when he's right, is remarkable offensive efficiency and a ruthless competitor. Those two things are hard to find in combination, but we'd all be making a mistake if we overreact to one game. Mm-hmm. I think the Bucks have to get better play from Holiday in particular. Middleton's got to get started sooner. The closeout game against Atlanta and last night, very, very below average first halves, and then great second halves. He's got to get started quicker. And then, how does Antetokounmpo, how does he react to Game 1? Is he okay still? Is he able to play at a high level? I thought he looked great, and I also thought Phoenix did a great job on him. So, I thought, both things, he had a very good game considering all the circumstance, but he did not overwhelm Phoenix at all. I thought their defense was rock solid when it came to Giannis.
What do you make of the sense of the conversation surrounding the Bucks, despite their making the NBA Finals, that Middleton does need to, as you mentioned, get started sooner, and he has to be the guy to finish up late because Giannis is that MVP who is such a liability from the line that he can't be the guy who has the ball in his hands in crunch time, and that's the ultimate problem with the Bucks. What do you make of that sense, Jeff Van Gundy?
Well, I think in one possession games, which a lot of times in the regular season, when you're as good as the Bucks are, you're playing from ahead, right? So a shot here, a missed free throw there, you can overcome that. But if you're in hard-fought one possession playoff games, what you try to do with your roster is play to your players' greatest strengths and hide their non-strengths. And I think obviously one of Giannis's non-strengths is his free throw shooting. And Middleton has a offensive game where he's got the ability to shoot it deep, which we've seen. He's got the mid-range pull-up game. He can get all the way to the basket with his size and finish. And he's an improving passer, right? So he has the whole package. So it's not really a knock on Giannis that we're not going to go to oftentimes late in one possession games. but we're going to play to Middleton's greatest strength. That doesn't mean Giannis won't take the shot or get an offensive rebound or run a pick and roll and create a play. But the free throw shooting issues are real. And, you can't throw away, like if you're up one, down one, most likely you can't take the chance of him getting fouled and having to knock in two. It's smart coaching. It's smart basketball to use your roster. And that doesn't detract from Giannis being a great, great player, but it's using a special offensive player in Middleton appropriately.
Jeff Van Gundy here on the Rich Eisen Show. Last one for you, Jeff. This is a subject that I know is near and dear to you because I pick up what you put down during your broadcast. I have a 4-point plan to improve NBA replay, Jeff Van Gundy, and I want to.
I can't. I'm for it. I already know I'm for it. Go ahead.
Okay, I
got a 1-point plan, Rich. Let me go.
Don't
first.
say get rid of it. Don't say get rid of it. You can't get rid of it
unless it's the last shot of the game. And the 3-point line or 2-point shot that we can do on the fly.
Okay.
That's my 1-point plan. Go with your 4-point
Okay,
plan.
here's my 4-point plan because, I'm an NFL replay expert. I really feel I should be on the competition committee, and I will use whatever juice I may have in any way, shape, or form or pulp with Roger Goodell to one day be enshrined, if you will, on that competition committee. But I've got 4 points here. Okay, Jeff? My first one, there's a rule change. If you can be awarded the ball in replay, you can refuse the replay. In other words, what happened with the Clippers in the Valley Oop, where the ball was off of Los Angeles and they stopped the game to see if Los Angeles could get the ball. In the interim, Monty Williams was able to huddle up and walk everyone through the Valley Oop paces. The Clippers could have said, screw that. We don't want the replay. Get the Phoenix Suns on the floor right now. They can't huddle up. What do you think of that?
Well,
you can decline the replay.
It's a good thought. My plan supersedes your plan, though.
Well, look, your plan would supersede all.
Eliminated that anyway.
All right. So,
here's my better part of that, though.
Yes.
In addendum, you wouldn't even need your first point if you had the Maxwell Smart cone of silence drop down where the 5 players in the game have to go at the free throw line and come under the cone of silence. At both ends.
Okay, where they're not allowed to huddle up.
Would be great sponsorship. We could make some cash, and we could take away the really illogical extra timeouts that are being afforded to teams.
Right.
So I have a better plan on your point 1. Point 2.
Okay, point two is part of the delay that took forever in that post-Valley Oop play was figuring out who the 5 on the floor need to be put back out there to make sure it's the same 5 that was on the floor for the Valley Oop. Let's remove Scott Foster and the rest of his crew from having to adjudicate that. It's on the coach to put the right 5 on the floor. That we're going to go back out there right away, and if you don't put the right 5 on the floor, it's a technical foul on you. We're not going to take any more time up on that sort of nonsense.
You really want to end a great game on a technical foul because a coach was harried and the wrong guy was on the floor?
Well, I mean, don't be harried. You got to have a get-back coach. Why don't you have somebody who understands who's on the floor?
Point 2, delete.
Okay. Point 3, Jeff Van Gundy. Point 3, give coaches a replay challenge for the first half. People are not challenging what should be replayed in the first half because they want to keep one in their back pocket for the second half.
So you'd have two challenges, one
yes,
in each
sir.
half?
Correct.
Okay, I like that, but as an add-on to that, if you get it right, you keep it, and you can, so if I get one right in the first half, I can use another in the first half. You shouldn't be punished for being right.
Okay, I like it. That's a nice little workshop right there, Jeff Van Gundy. Sort of like the NFL. If you get the first 2 right, you get a third. If you get one of them wrong, sorry. Okay, and here's the last one for you, and I think this one you will wholeheartedly agree. No more stopping games to look at whether something's a flagrant foul or not. No more of that. It's either what you see on the floor, that's it. End of story. It's flagrant or not based on first blush. We're not stopping as a Zapruder film this thing to see if the wind up or take a look at intent anymore. I don't want to do that. Your thoughts?
I'd rather accept my whole thing is all of this is decision making. we're trying to make an imperfect process of officiating perfect, and it leads to unwieldy delays at times.
Correct.
And so everything from out of bounds calls, and we're afraid they're going to get it wrong particularly in the last 2 minutes. My whole thing is, well, we should be worried about the whole 48 minutes. And yet we all know that if you have all this replay through 48 minutes, it'd be just too long, right?
Correct.
The flagrant issue, though, I think if the officials didn't use it as a bailout as much, like they would actually trust their eyes and not worry about getting reprimanded by the powers to be. And if the powers to be were more empathetic to how hard it is to officiate a game and didn't try to minutely second guess these guys, then we wouldn't have as many delays. So I don't, if they didn't just bail out to go over there, I wouldn't have a problem if was that wind up as hard as I think, or did the guy flop? I don't mind that. The sticking the leg under the shooter, which they got Brooke Lopez for last night.
Yep.
I don't even mind that. But again, once you open that Pandora's box, it's to me, it's too much of a bailout to always go over there. So I think the referees should only have where they can challenge themselves once or twice a half.
So
hey, you're paid to see it.
Right.
Don't give me the bailout. You're paid to see it. You get to go over there once in the first half and once in the second half, just like the teams are able to challenge. So challenge yourself. Hit that green button over there for yourself.
Right. That one I don't think that's going to fly. But to me, it's just, again, so we're trying to see. Let's go under it's a foul. We know it is. But is it a common foul or a flagrant foul? What type of flagrant foul it is? And fans are sitting at home going, let's play. Like, you called it a foul, and the number of times that then you and Mark Jackson start arguing on what used to be a common foul and not, it just sounds like a waste of your time and a waste of everybody's time when, first blush, I call it a flagrant. Too bad. Like, how often is a replay going to show it wasn't flagrant when it really is something that's interpretive, as opposed to, connecting on a follow-through by hitting someone in the face? Like Patrick Beverley, the wind-up that he had a wind-up to get up to DeAndre Ayton's apex to block most of the ball and then follow through and hit him in the face. You know what I mean? Like, why stop the game for that?
On that one, it actually got ruled not a flagrant foul, right? And so where I thought was flagrant, the officials came back and said wasn't. And actually, I applaud them because, again, too often I think right now, the officials are under great scrutiny.
No question.
Everything is micromanaged too much, which by their bosses, which takes away feel. And I know officials now in probably every league, but in basketball, they're not encouraged to have a feel for the game, which I think is so very important. Knowledge of the game and feel for the game, to me, gives you the ability to know that a certain guy is always flopping, or I gotta keep an eye on because history tells me he's an instigator. When you see guys walk up on the guys and bump them in the back, and then a guy reacts, and you tee up the second guy. So I think this micromanaging has them on pins and needles as far as, if I miss that flagrant foul, owners and teams are going to go to my bosses, and my bosses are then going to come down on me, and then I may get downgraded and not, have another playoff game, which costs me money. So I think the whole paranoia of trying to be perfect has actually hurt the ability and instincts of our officials at times. And so I'm all for never going over there. But if you are to go over there, I don't mind going over there on a flagrant foul. But I would just rather, I know replay is here, but replay was meant in the NBA when it initially came in for last shots and really these high leverage situations. And I just think we've gotten, like all leagues, we've just gotten carried away.
Okay, so just to recap, replay for flagrant or not is fine as long as the refs limit themselves.
Yes.
You think there should be correct challenges, get another challenge in each half.
Yes.
We are dispatching with coaches are responsible for putting the right people on the floor.
Number 2 is out.
Okay, and then number 1 is just get
Cone of silence instead of your
right, and just hope that Nike doesn't come up with a shoe phone to call the coach from the cone of silence.
If they come up with the shoe phone,
yes,
it should be allowed.
Okay. Yeah, let's not stop technology. I agree with you. Thanks for the call, Jeff. Always appreciate our chats. Let's chat down the line. Have a good rest of the finals. You guys. It's Jeff Van Gundy, everybody. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.